Willie D Live.
What's up, family? If it's your first time checking out the show, let me know what city, what state you're coming in from. If you're outside of the U.S., let me know what country you're representing. Throw up your flag. Family, I need you to smash up the like, smash up the like, smash up the likes. Also, if you have not done so already on YouTube, after you subscribe, there's a little bell next to your subscribe button. Go ahead and click that thing right now so you can get your notifications each time I drop a new video like this. That way you'll be in the loop. I'll let a few hundred of y'all come in, then I'm going in. But in the meantime and in between time, I'm going to give some shots out to the early birds, starting with Dun, 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 Sweet Beloved. What's up? Wonder Cash. Okay. What's up, New Zealand checking in? OG man. What's up? Easy Blue. What's up, broski? Michi Chat 6. What's up, Michi? You know what I'm trying to figure out? I know about three Michis personally. Where does Michi come from? I never thought about that. But how do you get the name Michi? Because neither person that I know who is called Michi, even neither of their names, like first name, middle name, last name, starts with an M. Like, so how do you get Michi from Dorothy? Or because I know guys and girls who has the name Michi, who's called Michi. These are nicknames, obviously, but I'm just trying to figure out what the hell does Michi even mean? I got to get that. I got to figure that out, man. I'm gonna have to figure that out. In fact, I'm gonna see if I can crack this case right now. Michi is a Scots word meaning stingy or close-fisted. Wow. Oh man, that's cold-blooded. Let's see. The Michis I know were not stingy. Like all the Michis that I know were never stingy or close-fisted. In fact, each Michi that I know is very generous. One's deceased, but she was a very generous woman. Uh, I guess it's got a different meaning in the U.S. I guess because yeah, that ain't how it go out here. Not for the people that I know. I see skip to my what's that say? Skip to my scene. KY checking in. All right, fam. Let's get into it. I see somebody else coming in from the Netherlands. S, what's cooking? I'm gonna go on this one, fam. I was gonna go in last night, but I got caught up in doing some other things. But I definitely got to salute. Got to salute. Got to give Young Scooter his props. Young Scooter pretty much shit in Atlanta. He pretty much owned the 2010. So, yeah, he did his thing. So let me put a pic up right quick of Young Scooter. It's the brother right there. Unfortunately, he lost his life yesterday on his birthday. Yeah. So let's get into the story, and then I'll show you guys some pics that you probably haven't seen. Um, so yeah, young Scooter was fleeing uh, the police, allegedly, when he severely hurt his leg while jumping over fences and died of that injury, Atlanta police said late Friday. According to the report, he was pronounced dead at Grady Marcus Trauma Center in Atlanta after being brought to the hospital by emergency medical services from a location on the southeast side of the city, according to the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office. The medical examiner's office says Scooter, born Kenneth Edward Bailey, had died from the incident, adding that the Grady Marcus Trauma Center reported the death. Young Scooter got his name and his big break as a rapper in 2012 when he signed with Future's record label, Free Bands. He collaborated with Gucci Mane on a mixtape called Free Bricks 2 and released another mixtape that same year with guest appearances from Gucci, Future, WG, and Lil Boosie. YS also worked with Future and Juice WRLD on their 2018 song, Jet Lag, which hit the top 100 Billboard charts. He died on his birthday at the age of 39. There was some talk, early talk, that the police had gunned him down. So what the cops said from their point of view is that they received a call about shots fired and a woman being dragged into a house. They show up and they go to the door and they get the door slammed in their face by a man in the house. At this point, the police decide to secure the perimeter. At some point, one of the men, both men run outside the back door, and then another man decides to turn around and run back inside the house. Scooter continues to run. He hops a fence. It was at that point, the police say, that he was injured, hopping the fence. Now, how do you die after hopping a fence? Oh yeah, it could happen. They got those fences. If you hit a sharp part of a fence, you should hit a sharp part of anything, it could rip through your skin. But especially if a fence has barbed wire, or even if it doesn't have barbed wire, it could just have a sharp edge. And really, most iron fences do. Iron and aluminum fences have sharp edges. And yeah, you cut yourself, you can die. Hell, I got a scratch from a fence, jumping a fence, a barbed wire fence. And then I know somebody else who got a really bad cut from jumping a fence. It wasn't a barbed wire, but it had a sharp point, and it cut her arm really bad. So it wouldn't be unfathomable to believe that he could puncture a main artery and bleed out, which is what the police suspect happened to him. So the police was quick to say, man, we ain't had nothing to do with that shooting. Y'all talking about F the police and F APD. We didn't have nothing to do with that shooting. That was all on him. The police on the same day, just a few, I think it was a few minutes or hours afterwards, They responded to another shooting where a man confronted four men and he was gunned down, but he survived. They ended up at the same trauma center, and the doctors were able to save his life. But a young Scooter could not be saved. According to witnesses, this is where young Scooter collapsed outside of the gate after he jumped the gate. And this is the area where he collapsed when he was confronted by the police. And this is allegedly him being put into the ambulance. So let's talk about it, fam. Let's talk about it. I'm about to give you some game you can claim and some news you can use. Young Scooter was 39 years old, been around the world, had experiences that most people ain't never gonna have. He did good for himself, for the profession that he chose. To live to be 39 and be from the streets or from the hood is not an easy task. But once you get to 30, usually, not always, but usually, you put the silly stuff behind you. And usually you can pretty much make it without getting gunned down like a dog. Because by the time you're around 30 years old, you're building a family, you got a kid or two, or three or four or five or six. You got a woman, you got people that depend on you. You're trying to build out a life for yourself. You're realizing that, hey, maybe I can do this thing called life. You got responsibilities. And so you ain't got the kind of time that you used to have as a youngster to hang out and kick it and rip and run. This is why usually if you can hit to that 30, if you can get to 30, 30 usually, it's usually that mark where men start like thinking a little bit more and becoming more responsible. Not always, but usually, right? By 30, you should know. Trying to outrun the police is not a good idea. At 39, you should know. You know how when you go to funerals and the pastor is preaching and he's talking about salvation, he's talking about making smart decisions, planning, getting right with your life and living your life in accordingly, according to scripture or whatever. How when you're talking about that stuff and the body is right there in front of him and he's talking, he's delivering the eulogy. The eulogy ain't for the deceased, it's for the living. So what I'm saying ain't for young Scooter. It's too late for young Scooter. This is for the living. This is for those of you out there who might think in your mind that, perhaps it's a good idea to smash the gas when the police get up on me. Now, listen, fam, if you're in a situation where if they get you, you go into jail, you ain't never getting out. If you want to roll the dice and you just don't want to go there, you want to do whatever. Hey, I get it. I can kind of understand something like that. But if you got plans for tomorrow, if you got real plans for tomorrow, like if you plan like to be at that event in 2 weeks, or that birthday party, or if you plan to, you know, teach your own kids how to walk and be there for them on the first day of school and walk your daughter down the aisle at her wedding and things of that nature, like milestones. You plan to attend those milestones, watch, your little nephew who you looked out for graduate. If you want to do stuff like that, running from the police is never a good idea. Now, although the police didn't shoot him, it's a good chance that they would have shot him because they were in pursuit of him. And you taking a big gamble. You basically saying, you rolling the dice going like this here. Ha. Ha. They might shoot me, they might not. Family, this ain't coming from a goody two shoes. This is coming from somebody who ran from the police at least a handful of times. But this was also a time where the police was not so eager to murder young black males. There was a time that they wouldn't be so eager to shoot you. They might even fire a warning shot. In fact, I had a warning shot fired at me once. And I stopped right then because I knew him. That warning shot me, hey, man, the next one might be, And then after that was the last time I ran from the police, actually, because I'm thinking, like, what if he would have been the one to just said, shoot me in the back? Because, they do that a lot. They shoot in the back a lot. They don't care if you're running from them. They'll shoot you in the back. They will gun you down. So, somebody said, would you run from somebody trying to kill you? The police at that point was not trying to kill him. The police came to check. The police basically, they responded to shots fired. When they came to the door, you can open the door or not open the door, but if you open the door and then slam the door in their face, they're coming in. I probably wouldn't even open the door at all. Y'all just keep on knocking. I'll be peeping out the window. Knock, 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 knock. Just knock, 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 knock all you want. I ain't opening that door. But if I'm opening the door, I'm not going to open the door and then take off running, or let somebody else open the door and then I take off running. Because if I run, they going to run. And some cops got that attitude where if you make me work, if you make me sweat, if you make me run, especially if I run and I fall, I trip, break a nail, my hair get out of place, man, them people will shoot you. Is it right? Hell no, it ain't right, because we know they pick and choose. But it's a fact. So we got to let the emotions thing go. We got to get out of our emotions. We got to get out of our emotions. See, because all of these emotional decisions that we're making and these emotional manufactured beefs and, being disrespectful, all this stuff that we get triggered for and we just start going off, it ain't working out. It just ain't working out. It ain't working out. Eventually, the consequences catch up with you. Because sometimes you can get away with stuff you be thinking you got away, and you get comfortable being disrespectful. You just get really comfortable. Then next thing you know, you get your head knocked off. And it always happened. It always happened. Sometimes you run from the police, you get away. The more you run from the police, you get away. I'm pretty fast. I'm like track star type fast running. I'm still fast, still fast. But when I was a youngster, man, I was jets. I put the jets on. And so, being young and dumb and, not really having a whole lot going on, didn't have to be at work the next morning, didn't have a career. You just make some silly decisions. But by the time you hit that 30 though, you just start having family. You start having more responsibilities, and you start realizing, man, think about yourself, fam. How many times, for those of you who are over 30, how many times have you thought about, damn, I could have died. I could have been killed in that situation. How many times have you thought about that? These are things we don't think about when we're youngsters. We don't think about that type of stuff when we're teenagers and in our 20s. We just don't think about that type of stuff. So by the time you're 39, you should know, do not run from the police. Had he stayed in that house and just dealt with the consequences, he might still be alive. This ain't blaming the victim. This is holding ourselves accountable. Because some people they don't like accountability. Man, accountability is a cuss word to them. He's trying to hold me accountable. He's trying to make me live. He's trying to make me do the right thing. He's trying to make me have a good life. I hate him. Who are he? Who is he? Who is that guy? Somebody who loves you for real. That's who he is. So yeah, fam, don't do that. Don't try to run from the police. Deal with it. Now, if they got the gun out and they just start busting at you or whatever, hey, man, you got to do what you got to do or whatever. But man, if you put yourself in a situation where people got to call the police because there's shots fired and a woman's been dragged into the house, this is what the police said. Now, here's something else they said. They said when they got to the house, they didn't find a woman. When they went into the house, they didn't find a woman inside the house. This could have been a situation where the woman left before they got there, or it could have been a situation where they were swatted. Somebody could have just lied and they came there. But in any event, if somebody did lie and the police showed up, it still don't change the fact that you do not take off running. There was a time when even black folks could have run from the police and they would not shoot you in the back. They would actually put in police work and chase your ass down. But today, since they know they got a pass and they can kill you with impunity, they just kill you. They just start shooting. Now, most of the time they get off. Every now and then they get held accountable. But that number is so low that they're willing to roll the dice and shoot you first because they don't value your life. So if they don't value your life, you already know they don't value your life because they don't value you as a human being. It ain't got nothing to do with your behavior, your character. It's strictly you as a human being. They do not like your type. So they already have a reason to kill you. What you do not want to do is give them an excuse, because they'll take that excuse in a heartbeat. They just be looking for it. They got their reason. They just be looking for an excuse. Sugar Daddy Williams says broken legs are almost never fatal. I don't think he just broke his leg. I don't even know if his leg was broke. I think he punctured. The police think he punctured an artery. That'll get you. You can bleed out if you puncture a main artery. You can bleed out. But the police, again, they said they did not shoot the man. They said, we didn't shoot him. We responded to a call of shots fired. They said they responded to a call of shots fired. Shots fired and a woman being dragged. When they got there to the house, a man slammed the door in their face. At this point, they take cover and they surround the perimeter. Two men bolt out the back door. One man turns around and goes back into the house. Another man, who they identified as young Scooter, continues to run. He hops a fence. And at some point, they corner him. And I'm not sure if they stopped him or he collapsed first, but they caught up with him. And he was suffering from an injury to his leg. They transported him to the trauma center in Atlanta, and he succumbed to his injuries. They said that Scooter was seen fleeing from the police when he severely hurt his leg while jumping over fences, and he died of that injury. This is according to the Atlanta police. If they would have shot him, I don't think they would be lying about shooting him. Yeah, they lie a lot, but I don't think they would lie about shooting him, because they know people gonna find out that they actually shot him. The coroner knows the difference between a bullet hole and a sharp object. The cold part is young Scooter was pronounced dead on Friday, on his birthday. This was supposed to be a day of celebration for him, where he's celebrating life. Instead, he's dead. They say Scooter jumped 2 fences while trying to get away, which is when he hurt his leg. They reiterated that no shots were fired by officers. The medical examiner backed those claims up, saying that Scooter had died from the incident, adding that Grady Marcus Trauma Center reported the death. This is where people are saying, the witnesses are saying that Scooter collapsed. The person on the gurney is allegedly Scooter, getting ready to be transported to the trauma center. Sad way to go, fam. I mean, it's always sad to go, but that right there is sad and, at least from my vantage point, unnecessary. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. That's my time. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. Until next time, family. No more talk.